Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It is a beautiful day out with unusually warm weather for December, and I am loving it. Anytime I don't have to shovel, I'm happy. So, for those of you who are joining us for the first time today, I am Deb Burton, the founder and creator of RI Elder Info and rielderinfo.com. We are a nonprofit 501c3 nonprofit here in Rhode Island that provides the most comprehensive resources for seniors, caregivers, and professionals. And every Friday at 9 o'clock, I come on here with a fabulous guest that is providing information and resources that you or someone you know needs to know about. So it's really important that you hit the like button and the share button and share this out on your personal pages, share it out in any community groups that you're in. I have a really unique guest today. I'm super excited to speak with her, and I know that you know somebody who needs this information. So super important that you hit the like and the share button. So like I said, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So everything we do, we need sponsors, donors, and all those fabulous things. So I have to give a huge shout out to Oak Street Health. They have been our sponsors now. We're in our second year with Oak Street Health. Super happy to have them on board. They provide comprehensive health care to Medicare beneficiaries. They have offices in Warwick by the Christmas Tree Plaza, in Providence by the Old St. Joe's, also by the McDonald's on Branch Ave. They have another location up in Woonsocket, right up on Diamond Hill Road. And one of the things that's really cool about them is they provide transportation. So that's like one less thing that you have to worry about. They also have in their setting, they even have like a little community room with computers available for anybody, whether you're their client or not. And tech support on site too. So, like sometimes they say you got to fill out that form. You can go to an Oak Street Health location and they can help you with that. Also, big shout out to United Healthcare. They provide insurance for our Medicare beneficiaries. They are absolutely amazing, the resources that they provide. You can give my friend Jen Barrows a call over there. She is wonderful and, can give you all the ins and outs. Even if you speak another language, there are multiple languages that Jen can connect you with so that you can get the information you need in a language that works best for you. Huge shout out to Tamarisk Assisted Living. They are located in Warwick. They are a smaller assisted living facility that really treats your loved one like family. Call Sue or Sean over there. They are absolutely wonderful. They will give you a big old hug if you want, or not if you don't want. They really are like family over there. Cannot forget to say thank you to Ben Barber of 321 Media. He's the one working behind the scenes here, making this all flow for you. So it's not like stop and go if I were running the show by myself. So thank you to Ben. And if you visited the rielderinfo.com website, then you can see the magic of England Studio. They are award-winning web design team. That can really make your website do anything that you imagine and even things that you can't imagine. So super grateful to our sponsors, super grateful to our donors out there. If you'd like to donate, if you like what we're doing, you want to donate, there's a donate page on the rielderinfo.com page. You just go on there, hit the button, and do what you feel is right. And we are always grateful for that. Every penny counts when you're a nonprofit these days. So super excited for my guest today. I would like to welcome up Catherine Fassbender. Hi, Catherine. You are like one of the most peaceful people I know.
Oh, thank you.
You just have this calmness. So for those of you who don't know Catherine, I met Catherine about a year ago on a absolutely frigid, cold night. A mutual friend of ours, Christine Andrews, was doing a toy drive at Toys for Tots, and we were outside collecting toys because we had to be safe. And boy, you didn't not a peep about how cold it was, and like now I've come to know you better, and you are just one of the sweetest, calmest people, and you're doing some really cool stuff. So can you tell everybody What is the Hem of Christ ministry and what it is that you're doing? Because this is so cool. I've never heard of anybody doing this before.
Yeah, so the Hem of Christ Ministry is a hopefully soon to be nonprofit. We're in the filing phase that seeks to accompany those living with dementia. So the person with the diagnosis, the care partner, and even the professional care partner connect to their journey of faith so that everybody on the dementia journey has the ability to live the dignity of their faith.
So, what kinds of things? So, a lot of times we think of dementia, people just forget everything.
Mm-hmm.
Do they forget that faith part? Is that something you have to remind them or reteach them? Or how does that work when someone has dementia?
Yeah, so faith, in some ways, we often hear about how emotional memory is lasting through dementia. And faith kind of fits in that realm. And so while a person may need help starting a prayer, or they may need to say a prayer in more of a sing-songy way to actually be able to verbalize it, that prayer and that faith is still deeply rooted into who they are. They may just need a little help, a little guidance to show them how they can still practice their faith, how they, to help them pray, to help them get to their mass or a service for their faith. And then also once they're inside a church, help in terms of, maybe there are things that we can do within their inside our church building that makes it more comfortable for them so that they can practice their faith with their faith community.
That is amazing. So, many, many, many years ago, I was a nurse's aide, and there was a woman, and this was well before Alzheimer's was really understood. It was kind of like, oh, everybody gets it. It's just a function of aging, and what do they really know? And really, by today's standards, like prehistoric thought about Alzheimer's and dementia. And there was a woman with advanced dementia, and her son was getting married, and her son was adamant mother of the groom was going to be at the front of the church, period.
Mm-hmm.
And hired some staff to get her all dressed up. And some folks were really like, would she understand what's happening? And interestingly enough, when the priest said the blessing, she
Mm-hmm.
was able to continue that muscle memory, and she smiled when that blessing was taking place. And on a day-to-day, you could ask her, what do you want to eat? And she wasn't able to answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. So for your ministry,
Mm-hmm.
is it a specific religion that someone needs to participate in, or faith?
No, the ministry, while a Catholic ministry, has an interfaith community. So there are elements of the Catholic faith that are unique to that faith tradition, mainly the sacraments.
Mhm.
And so the ministry really focuses on helping Catholics be connected to those sacraments. However, we are interfaith in that if someone were Jewish, Methodist, Presbyterian, whatever it may be, and they come to us, we don't turn them away. We will either find a way to sit and pray with them if that's what they need, or if they want to be connected to their specific faith tradition, finding people in the community and bridging that gap, and then teaching that faith community, here's how you can walk with this person on their journey of faith and dementia.
That is absolutely amazing. And so, do you have a background in working with people with dementia? How did you come to this?
Well, my journey in terms of working with dementia started when I was in 6th grade. It was the first time I heard dementia and Alzheimer's. We were in our science class, and I had a classmate who raised her hand and said, in my family, we call it old timers disease. The entire classroom erupted in laughter, but I felt a pit in my stomach, and I had no explanation for it whatsoever. So at that time, I went to a school that required a service project. So I decided my service project would be with a local care community. And that's really how it started. And then I started thinking about, okay, could this be a career, or will this always be a focus for volunteer work for me? And when I discovered the creative arts therapies, and then even more so when my grandmother was diagnosed with vascular dementia, that is when it really solidified the fact that this needs to be my career in some way. And so I just kept exploring new ways and new avenues that I could work with this population. And it was a winding, twisting path through thinking I'd go specifically into drama therapy and work clinically with them, to thinking I'd work specifically with one care community and really focusing my time and energy there, to what I do now, which is working as an independent contractor in many ways with a wide variety of people in different settings to provide education, life enrichment support, and now also this faith support as well.
Wow. So you saw this need. It sounds like it's something that you were called to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's the only way to really explain how this came to be in my life.
You were called from the time you were a child, excuse me, to work with individuals who have dementia.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of responses do you see when you're working with individuals with dementia and helping them to practice their faith?
Yeah, I see a lot of times I can walk in and there's a period of entering into relationship with the individual. But once we start to either pray or we talk about faith, or sometimes if the person is nonverbal and I just share my faith as we sit together, there's life that re-enters a room. And there's no other way to really to describe it. It's not that they were lifeless before, but there's this new internal joy that seems to start to radiate in the room and out and through them. And I have had many times where I leave working with an individual and I'll have a CNA, if I'm in a care community, come up to me and say, how'd you do that? I have yet to hold a single conversation with that woman, and you just spent 45 minutes with her. Or families will say, for the first time, my loved one was able to eat their dinner and sit with us at table. And it's all, I think, part of that. We're tapping into a unique part of the individual that needed to be fed in some way, but was being ignored for the sake of, serving their physical needs and not so much their spiritual needs as well. And so the feedback has been really remarkable.
That is amazing when you think about how you can, I don't want to say necessarily give back the person who they were, but kind of maybe remind them or refresh those memories.
Yeah.
And folks watching, I can tell you, when you're in Catherine's presence, there is that sense of peace and calmness. It is very reassuring. Do you find that your work is, because you have this sense of peace, that you have the ability to work with individuals whose dementia may cause them to have maybe more anxiety, or what some people might call some behavioral issues, things like that? Are you able to work with individuals who maybe have that heightened way of being with their dementia?
I think so. And it's only in, as you asked the question, kind of reflecting back on different situations. When I was working in specific care communities, there's almost this cheerleader mentality for the life enrichment team. You're always up and bubbly and getting people moving and grabbing their hands and dancing with them. And while that is great, there are people that need that energy. There are also people that don't want that energy, that they just want to have someone sit with them and look out the window for an hour, for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so I think just how my temperament is, it kind of balances out that bubbly energy that others might need and is often, provided.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. So you mentioned you're in the process of becoming a nonprofit.
Yes.
So I can tell you, as becoming a nonprofit here for RI Elder Info, it can take months. So in the meantime, you are able to do different activities. What is it that you're doing right now that I have asked you to step away from? What am
Yeah.
I interrupting today?
Yeah. So right now I'm in the midst of an Advent retreat, a virtual Advent retreat that started on the first Sunday of Advent that's going until Christmas Eve, with every day having a little moment for prayer and reflection and also community building. It's my first time ever facilitating a virtual retreat, so it's a great learning curve for me, but it's also a beautiful moment and an invitation for people to rediscover how a prayer life can be woven into the dementia journey, regardless of where somebody is, or if they are living with the diagnosis or the care partner, because it's that invitation where 5-10 minutes, maybe 15, building that into your day as we lead up to Christmas. There's kind of an added energy that helps sustain that energy.
That is awesome. So you do this for individual families, or do you? I know you mentioned that you work with some facilities. Do you
Mhm.
work with the actual religious organizations themselves, whether that be the church, the synagogue, the mosque? Do you work with those organizations to help them kind of really learn how to support their members who may have dementia or their caregivers?
Yeah, I do. I have it. This ministry has been a part of my work for a few years, but it's only in the last 6 months that it's becoming its own entity. So previously, I was doing a lot of work with parishes and training them in not only how to become dementia friendly, because that's step one. We
Yeah.
also have a and after that. And so training them, how do you make this a sustainable ministry within your church? So teaching them, first of all, what is dementia, because there are a lot of priests and parish staff and church staff that don't know really much about dementia. They may have had a loved one that had Alzheimer's and they know that, or they know the stories that the media shares with them. So really opening that up and sharing, okay, what is dementia? Now, how does our church maybe provide something that fills the needs of those living with dementia, again, either the care partner or the person with the diagnosis? And then how do we as a church community support them? And so that comes from everything from maybe changing the lighting in your church so your lighting is better for somebody with low vision. Maybe it's adding a ramp somewhere, so it's making sure that their physical needs are met. And then also providing a ministry within the church, people who are trained and know how to just enter into a relationship with somebody that may not be able to have a conversation the way you and I are having a conversation right now, and then guiding them through that process as they meet new people, as they put into practice what we've talked about.
I think one thing that we have all learned in the last, well, going on 2 years now, but since COVID, is how important it is to really kind of um, take care of each other, look in on each other,
Mm-hmm.
check in with each other.
Mm-hmm.
When when an organization, a faith-based organization or other organizations um, receive this training in relation to working with individuals who are who have dementia,
Mm-hmm.
does it also benefit the caregivers who may be parishioners?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I specifically design what I do so that we can address the care partner need, because, especially if you're a family care partner, when you enter that role, you sacrifice a lot, regardless of whether you have additional help coming in or not. And so while we can't necessarily just, we don't have the means to provide for them financially in the way that they may need extra financial help or extra physical help, we can provide spiritual support, which in return lifts them up and kind of allows them to keep moving. Because like, okay, this too shall pass, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on which side of the coin you're looking at. And that they are not alone, that there is a community of people that are praying for them. And what that can do to the human spirit is it's remarkable. And so by being there, sometimes just to sit and listen is a great gift we can give them that really doesn't require much of, financial need, physical need, that sort of thing.
I would imagine that you would have the ability to provide this education and training to the members of the parish, because one of the things we hear about so much on the media, and I have to say it's true, is, we don't have as robust a healthcare workforce as we would like. And so a lot of times caregivers are really kind of on their own. And I have spoken with people who would be interested um, just giving a caregiver a break, but they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. And, how do I talk to somebody who has dementia? So, I can't go sit with Bob so that Sally can, go to the hairdresser, because I don't know what to do with Bob. Like, he has that Alzheimer's. So, and I think, is this something that you could help a religious organization kind of develop a support program for their parishioners and other members of their community?
Yeah, that is something. And in fact, later in the spring of 2022, I'm hoping to launch a program that actually is kind of a toolkit, so to speak, for faith communities that they can implement. So this can be a ministry, just like, some of the other ministries that they may have, ministry to the sick and homebound, or, St. Vincent de Paul ministry, or whatever it may be, that they have the tools that they need to have actual ministry within their church, but then also connections to me, and hopefully a growing community of people who do this, that are not necessarily on call, but available to, maybe in that first instance, you want to help, but you don't know, sitting with him, you don't know what to say. We could join that first conversation and guide you through that process.
Yeah, it's so important that we work to support one another. We are all in this life together. We got to work together.
Yeah.
And so, are you thinking down the road that this is something that a ministry that could go worldwide?
I initially thought nationally, but as I've been doing this, I've had conversations with people actually throughout Europe who have said, I wish this was here. Why can't you be here? And so I think it's just a matter of time of building up kind of momentum and footing here in the States before we go global. But that is long-term something that I am definitely open to exploring.
Hey, and we have the benefit of the World Wide Web, so going global's not that hard.
No.
Oh, that would be absolutely amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
We have an increase in individuals who have Alzheimer's and other related dementias. And I don't see that really going away anytime soon. And so I think being able to connect to people when they are in a vulnerable place to something that is greater than they are, I think is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I found that the people who are people of faith that have a parish or church community, when that diagnosis of dementia hits and the news starts to get out, it's that faith community that's still standing. When neighbors and sometimes even other family have dispersed, that faith community is still there. And so a lot of it is just a matter of how do we then support that faith community so that they can be there fully alive, present for that individual.
Yeah. And so we talked a little bit about the fact that, like, this is something that's always been important to you since you were a child. Do you have particular training in this or certifications in this?
Yeah. So my academic background is in the creative arts therapies, both art therapy and drama therapy. And while I was in those programs, I focused on geriatrics. That was the only thing I would write papers about, do research, internships, practicums. And it was my way of kind of getting around the fact that my school did not have a gerontology program.
Yep.
And then after that, I went on to become a certified dementia communication specialist, as well as a certified dementia practitioner, CDP. So I have then additional very specific training on top of that. And there's also, having that experience with my grandmother who had vascular dementia and just years of working with these individuals, that's a piece of education that can't be negated either.
Oh God, no. It's that lived experience a lot of times, for many aspects of life. The textbook will say this is how things are going to work. And in a perfect world, that is how things are going to work. But in the real world, sometimes you just got to wing it on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. People have good days, people have bad days, and you kind of have to work with where they're at. And that's really important.
Yeah.
So what is one piece of advice that you wish individuals who have dementia or caregivers who are caring for someone with dementia knew? What's one piece of advice you'd like to share?
It's a little vague, but I think it needs to be heard in that you can live fully alive on the dementia journey. I think so many people think, they start to believe that lie that dementia is a death sentence. Well, yes, it will ultimately lead to the decline of the human body. But you can still live fully alive and the purpose for which you were uniquely created to live. And so it's a matter of building that care ensemble, so to speak, of people who help you do that. And sometimes that just needs a little assistance. And so reaching out to people like myself, and I know there are many other great people in the state of Rhode Island, just to help you. Okay, you were someone who was deeply rooted in the arts. How do we help you? You're looking to better connect with your faith community. How do we help you? And reaching out to those individuals outside of the medical care team, which is valuable, but they are one side of the coin, and you got to look at the other side of the coin as well in order to live fully alive. That
is really, really beautiful. Like that, those are just beautiful words that you just said. And I like that you say it's the dementia journey. All of us are on a journey, and we're just walking each other home.
Yep.
And being on the journey of dementia is just one aspect. I think that that's really important. And I think, at this time of year, it's the time when many people return to their faith. And so I think it's what you're doing is really important. So are you a 501c3 or it's like in process, you said?
It's in process, not yet.
Okay.
It's taking a while, but we'll get there.
I know the paperwork from the IRS, sometimes takes a while for them to process, and all paperwork is slowed down with holiday mailing and reduced staffing in places. So how can people support the work that you're doing as you're waiting for your official 501c3 stamp of approval? How can people support what you're doing?
Yeah, I think there are two main ways that people could support me. One is just if you meet somebody, spread the word that I exist, because I have yet to meet somebody else who's doing what I'm doing. And so therefore, word of mouth is the best way to allow people to know, hey, there is this resource here to help you. So spreading the word the best way you can in ways that are appropriate for you. And also starting in January, I am going to be looking for volunteers to come and to help me with a pilot programming for a new training that I'm doing and building a church toolkit, as well as to help me. There's some other events that I have on the in the future for the next few months that I would love to have volunteers, so that it's not just a ministry about me. That was part of the reason why I split it from my for-profit work, is because it needed to live beyond me, and volunteer work is I think a good way to start.
That is awesome. So you're looking for volunteers. If people wanted to reach out to you, what is your website?
Sure, my website is hemofchrist.org.
Okay. And if people wanted to reach out to you, they should email you at kfassbender@gmail.com.
Yes. Yeah, that's my personal email and the easiest way currently to get a hold of me.
That's it. The early days of nonprofits, I totally understand how that is. It's like, yeah, the website's up and we're rocking. And so volunteers, and I'm thinking, you could probably use volunteers not only for your training program, but if there are marketing students out there who would like to volunteer their time, if there are champions in the churches who want to get the word out, I think all those people would be really helpful for them to reach out to you.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll get it up on the website next week, but I'll have a page dedicated to volunteer work so you can see specifics about what that would look like.
What a great idea. That is awesome. So, Kate, I'm so glad you had time to come on today, because you are just a genuinely sweet individual with that not overwhelming, but that wonderful sense of peace about you, and very, very knowledgeable. So I think your Hem of Christ ministry, I think it's amazing. I've never heard of anybody doing such a thing. So I want to see you go global.
Yes.
Think of all the people whose lives could be impacted.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, thank you for having me.
This has been awesome. Thank you. Awesome. So tell me, people, have you ever heard of anything like this program? I haven't, and I have my ear to the ground on so many different things. It's absolutely amazing what Kate has created. She saw the need, she was called, and now her nonprofit is in the process of getting all the last minute details, not last minute, but the details of a nonprofit together. But if you're a member of a faith community, reach out to your pastor, reach out to your priest, reach out to your imam or your rabbi, and have them reach out to Kate, because this is dementia is something that's impacting more and more and more individuals. And we know that dementia doesn't just impact the individual with the diagnosis, but it's their caregivers and family members. And the tools that Kate's program can provide can give them more of a sense of peace and help that individual on their dementia journey. Super, super great program. I really hope, particularly at this season of faith, that people do reach out to Kate. And in the meantime, I look forward to seeing you all again. And in the meantime, please be well and be kind. Thank you.
If you like this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-0509. If you have any questions, email deb@rielderinfo.com.